And it should be connected. I think I just have to hit the live button on Instagram. But that's, I think, where we're at. Let me make sure that Instagram worked. It did work. Yay. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We'll give it a moment for some people to pop on just to kind of give it a second. But I was just making sure it worked first of all. Hello, everybody. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so it's working. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is another episode of the PTA Inspire series. This is where I bring on students who have recently gone through my coaching program and have inspirational stories that I feel are going to really benefit many students, regardless of where you're at in your journey. And just basically, the big premise of this is just don't give up. Even when things get tough, even when it seems impossible, just don't give up. So I have Natallie with me.
Yes.
Natallie is a badass for lack of any other explanation. I'm so proud of her. So she was working with me and she passed her exam back in July. So it's a little bit delayed, but that's because you were moving and got
Yes.
a big PTA job and everything.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how's that been going?
It's been going well. I just relocated to San Antonio, Texas. Love it. Got here August 10th and just started my PRN position at an assisted living facility here in San Antonio. I started last weekend. They were so impressed by me and asked, can I come again this weekend?
There you go. That's awesome. So you're finally working the job that you've been wanting to work for so
Yes.
long.
Yes, I am
Excellent.
finally the PTA. Yes.
There you go. See, it's not about an if, it's a when. That's what I
Right.
keep telling people. It's not about if, it's when. So tell me a little bit, how did you decide that you wanted to be a physical therapist assistant? I know you kind of have a jump around journey, so give us the whole scoop.
Sure. So my senior year, I was in a summer program at my high school where they offered us to be part of a allied health profession. I decided to do physical therapy. I knew I didn't want to be a nurse, so I got into the physical therapy a certificate program. The director in the program hired me after the program was over. So while getting my undergraduate, I was a physical therapist aide. So I like working with the patient. I saw the PTAs interacting with the patients, and me being such a bubbly person, I said, hey, I can probably see myself doing this for as a career. So while getting my undergraduate, I still was a PTA, a physical therapist excuse me. And after getting my undergraduate, I went to get my PTA associate's degree. So that's kind of how my journey went with that.
Gotcha. And so when did you get your PTA license? I mean, get your PTA degree.
So I graduated PTA school in 2012. I got my undergraduate degree in 2010. I did take my boards in 2013. I did not pass on my first attempt, so I decided to take a pause. When I did decide to start back studying again, that's when I came across your program on YouTube when it was my fifth attempt. So I just want to let everybody know I passed on my sixth attempt. So don't worry about how many times it takes. Just do it. Just get it done. Bree motivated me the whole way through. It was a great program. I'm glad that I found you when I
You're
did.
the perfect fit because the big thing about, even if you're not going to be involved in any of my programs, the big thing about studying for the boards is understanding there are things that need to be done and you need to, as you said, just do it pretty much. Like
Right.
follow the steps. Like the recipe to passing the NPTE is very boring. It is just showing up every day, even when you don't want to, getting things done, asking for help. You're always willing to ask for help, quizzing yourself, keeping track of your progress and stuff. And I mean, you followed everything to a T. You were like, Bree, what do I gotta do? I'm gonna go
Right.
do it.
I was determined to do this. This was what I wanted to do because I knew what my 5-year goal was. I knew time was limiting. I couldn't let no more time pass because time already kind of passed. Something that I thought I was going to come back, a year from now, turn up being 10 years.
Mhm.
So I thought maybe it was going to be hard, kind of retaining the information. But I'm like, hey, now that bicep still flex, the tricep still extend. I just know there's certain things that were probably changed, and I was glad that I did find your program because it was streamlined very well. When I was studying, I was just kind of everywhere, and I saw that's where I made a mistake. I didn't create a study plan. I love that you had the study plan for us. You made us stick to our study plan, and I made sure I stick with that study plan. And into the community, since I've been out a while, there's other PTAs that were new graduates who just recently or were in clinicals, and it was like a community, which I really love. It was like I was with family, people who had the same interests as me. So I really enjoyed coming to office hours on Thursdays and the group coachings that were hosted on during the weekdays or on Sunday.
Yeah, no, and the community is a great thing that I think everybody should at least like find somebody who can be your community. And that's, sometimes you might need different people for different things. A supportive friend who's just always there for you and is encouraging you in your corner. I think it is good to have somebody who gets it, that like they've been through the PTA stuff. So having some sort of, PTA mentor just to like be like, man, the board freaking sucks. And they're like, yeah, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay me to take that thing again. Like just
Right.
understanding exactly what you're feeling in those moments. And that's what's great about our community. And even for all of you who are watching right now on Instagram and YouTube and everything, you are all part of my community that I have claimed you basically. And so I'm just really excited that you were able to leverage that aspect of the program and those sort of things. So talk about though, during those 10 years, and then once you found me, it seems like I feel like everything kind of fell into place. But before that,
Right.
talk about some of the challenges and obstacles you were having with studying for the boards that was really impeding your progress to be able to get that passing score.
Right. So in between time, of course, I didn't pass on my first attempt. In 2020, when we had the pandemic, the stay home order, I used that time for me to pull out old notes and study and kind of see where I was at. I took my first or second attempt exam and I scored a 520. And I just kind of wanted to see where I was and could I do it. I saw where I was not taking practice exams. That's very important. From when I passed this attempt from previous, I've noticed, you wasn't taking practice exams and you were kind of everywhere. But in between those 10 years, I was taking time to kind of study and kind of get the information back into my head again, looking at YouTube videos. On my third attempt, I got a 540, and I would kind of take it in January, and I'll take it again in April. I didn't really have like time to study. I just kept going and was like, okay, winging it basically. And I noticed you can't do that. So on my fourth attempt, I got a 550, and my family said, okay, now take a break. And I took a year off. I got a 550 again, and I'm like, okay, I got to do something else, another strategy plan, because the plan that I had wasn't working. And I'm like, you got your last attempt. When I was studying on my fifth attempt, that's when I saw your YouTube videos over that weekend. I was trying to cram, and I'm like, oh my God, her information is great. And a lot of the things that when I retained from seeing just a couple of your videos were on the boards. When I took it on my fifth attempt, of course, I didn't pass. I got the 550 again. But on this attempt, I reached out to you. I remember and you called me back that same day. We came up with a game plan. I was attempting to take the exam again in October. You said, no, Natalie, let's wait and let's take it in January. And I actually ended up waiting again and taking it in July because I wanted to feel very comfortable going into the exam because I knew this was my last attempt. So I think in those 10 years, I took a different game plan or look at it, this attempt.
Yeah, it sounds like the main things that you were struggling with was just kind of being all over the place, not having a solid game plan. And I think this is something that a lot of students struggle with. And I think a lot of it also comes from a little bit of family pressure where they're like, oh, just take it again the next time, take it again the next time, take it again the next time, without realizing that you can't keep banging your head against the wall. It's just going to give you more of a headache. Like you have to create a solid game plan that's realistic and works for you. And I mean, I'm somebody who I don't like when people push off their exam because I think a lot of times people think, oh, I'm pushing it off because I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. There's a difference between that and making sure you're doing it right. So Natalie ended up working with me for almost a like entire year because she was focusing on doing it right. And I think some of you guys who might be listening to this need to understand that it's okay to take more time to do it right if you are taking the steps. If you are just like willy-nilly all over the place, not really doing anything, kind of doing a little bit of start stops
Mhm.
where you start out for a little bit, then you get distracted, then you do something else, or like, oh, a holiday pops up and you feel like you ruined everything. No, just make yourself mini game plans, and it's possible to make 6 month plans. Hell, it's possible to even make 9 month plans. It's about doing it right. I think that's the big thing, is making sure that you're doing it right. And I think a lot of people try to force something when they're not ready for it. And I think another thing that we had talked about is formulating like efficient study habits and learning the information in the right way. And some of you guys, if you've been out of school for a while and you're listening to this and you're like, I feel like I'm right there with her. Like, that's how I feel right now. Talk about how you were able to basically restart learning everything in a way that worked and like built everything up correctly for you.
Well, sticking to a study plan and then being dedicated. I'm paying for this program. I wanted to make sure I was getting my money's worth for one, and just being dedicated. Having those weekly talks with you. I really like the coaching where we would have moments where we would just debrief. I love that every time I'm like, oh my God, can I really do this? And you'll say, hey guys, let's just talk today. Let's get some things off our chests. It feels good to just talk and get things off your chest. But just having that game plan, staying focused, overcoming challenges. I just knew this is what I wanted. If there were days where I didn't feel like studying, Bree, I would still do something. My game plan was to look at your videos, write it down, and then look at it again, and then kind of teach it out. I would tell my daughter, she's like, Mom, what did you learn today? And I'll tell her, this is what I studied today. And then she'd be like, okay, Mom, if I don't say it to her clear, she'd be like, I think you need to look over that again. You missed something. So she was my big support. My daughter was my big support. When I take my practice test, she'll go over it. She'll say, Mom, think about it again. Don't second guess yourself. So when I took my exam, she was in my head as well as you, Bree. Don't second guess yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big thing a lot of students struggle with. How old is your daughter, by the way?
She is this. So I've been out of school for 11 years. She's 11 years old. Yep. I
I'll
got
say,
out.
you can't explain it to a fifth grader or sixth grader,
Right.
whatever grade she's in. I guess she was in fifth grade at the time, but can't explain it to, fifth grader, then
Right.
you don't really know it, kind of thing. So I'm glad that she was there for you. And I think a lot of, people, there's probably a lot of people listening to this that do have kids. So why don't you kind of speak a little bit about, navigating studying while being a mom and everything like that, and just making sure that, you're present with your family, but also like dedicated to yourself and the importance of putting yourself and your goals
Right.
in the
So my
priority
daughter
spot.
saw my journey. It started when she was in third grade. She saw me open books in the neuro, and she'll say, "Mama, are you on the brain today?" And then she'll start reading as well. And normally I'm like, "No, go away." And I said, "No." I let her read too, and we'll read together. It was, you have to have 20 minutes of reading with your child. So I included that. Now she loves working out at school. She wants to be a neurosurgeon. She wanted to do neuro. She loves neuro, Bree. She said, Mom, I want to be a neurosurgeon. She just loved the information when I shared it to her. She know how many bones are in the body. And she's in healthy habits at school, and they had a topic of what you don't know. And she said, Mom, I told them you have 206 bones when you're born, and then 260. I probably said it backwards, but she was telling me what she told them. So I was glad to see that she's taking what I'm reading and learning and putting it in her schooling.
That's awesome. I love how your list, like my score builders book is what I did for reading.
Yeah, we did. That's what we did. I had my score builds. What are we reading today? I do cardio. She learned, and she's learning this with me.
I
We
love
did it
that.
together. I'm like, oh, we can read. I'm like, you got to get 20 minutes. Come on. So yes,
There you
she
go.
may
That's
not
awesome.
understand, but she got it. She got a little bit of it.
There you go. See, that's the way to do it. That's awesome.
Right.
I love that.
Include your
Um,
kids. Make it fun.
exactly. No, that's wonderful, and I'm really happy to hear that. I know she was a big, driving force for you, trying to be like, I know you kept telling me you're just like, I want to set a good example for my daughter. I want to show her that like I can do hard things if I put my mind to it and get the right resources. I can
Yeah.
do anything that I want.
Yeah. I told her, I said, Mommy can pass this. She can go and go to DPT school, which is my next goal. I set that for myself. And now if you can pass this, then you can take on DPT. I know that, like you said, it's more fun as a PTA, but I like to take on challenge, and I think I'll do well. We'll see though, Bree. Like I told you, let me see first. Let me do about 2 years in PTA, and then make that decision 2 years from now. But yeah, that was my goal to myself. If you pass this, you might as well go and take on the next step.
There you go. Set big goals for yourself. And for anybody listening to this, I will say, as somebody who did go back to PT school, just make sure you really, really want it. It's not just because you want to be called doctor or anything like that. Like, think about like if you were on your deathbed and you didn't take this step to try to become a PT, would you be sad? And if your answer is anything but absolutely, I would be sad, don't do it. That's my big thing. I will, that's a whole separate conversation, but no, yeah, I think being a PTA is wonderful. I really enjoy it. I've enjoyed what I've learned as I moved on, but I mean, everybody's story is unique. And I mean, I applaud you. I mean, I 100% agree. You can do everything you set your mind to. And I'll write you a letter of rec. Don't worry, girl. I got you. I'll be licensed by then. I'll write you a letter of rec. I'll make sure I hype you up and everything. Yeah. And somebody on Instagram just wrote, delay is not denial. And they said, good job, Natalie.
And I want to let them know, when I was in therapy school, I prayed over it. I think I shared that with you, Bree. I said, delay, not denied. And I went on with my life. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. So in between, when I graduated from Coastal Carolina University, then I went to Horry Georgetown to the program. When I failed, I always wanted to move to Charlotte. I was a Panthers fan, more like a Cam Newton fan. So I moved on to Charlotte and started my other opportunity. I was in human resource, accounts payable. So I enjoyed it. I had a great life experience.
And I think that does show, like, for those of you who might be thinking, like, am I too old to go back? Am I too old to do this? Like, has it been too long? I think if you take that time to get that life experience, it does really work in your favor. Now you might be like, my brain's not as young as it used to, but I think there is no negativity into starting at any age. I think that everybody has something unique and wonderful to bring to this profession. I don't think that you should deny yourself because of something silly like age, even if you're feeling like you're too young. You should not be denying yourself versus something as silly as that. I think if this is what you want to do, you want to help people, you want to work with people, you want to make a difference in their lives. I love this profession. I hype it up to everybody. I think it's great.
Yeah, I like it too. Brianna's been a PTA now got my license on 9/4. Texas finally approved me. I saw my first patient and I got good feedback, and I love to see their face. They feel better. I just loved it. It got me back into how, what made me get into this. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I think I had told you this, so I just need your confirmation that it's true. I tell people, and I even said this today when I was on a call with someone, I was like, physical therapy is 90% relationships. If you can have a conversation, build rapport, build trust with a patient. I mean, you can make silly mistakes here and there. You can be like, I need to step out and look something up. They just want to hear you. They just want to hear that you are bonding with them as another human being. And that makes way more of a difference than if you were somebody who was the smartest person who had zero bedside manner. So if you're worried about maybe you've taken some time off and coming back into things, like, the people just want to be seen, heard, and listened to. And if you're able to do that, don't worry, the physical therapy, it's in there. It'll come back out. So have you noticed that to be true?
I want to tell him, I had my patient and I'm like, I've been out of school while I was doing contract relax on a total knee. And she was like, honey, you're doing good. You could have left that part out, that you've been out 11 years. And I was like, Natalie, don't tell people anymore. Just say, I'm a PTA, because I like to give too much. But she was like, I would have never known, because I came in with a game plan. I have a therapeutic notes that I had, and I gave that. There was applaud by me. They were like, yeah. But yeah, I got good feedback. I just got a text this morning saying that over the weekend I had got good reviews from the patients.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
They were like, when's she coming back? So like, we want you back Saturday. I'm like, I'll be there.
I would say I had no worries. Absolutely.
At first, I was nervous. I was scared. I was thinking, because I've been out a while, Texas might say, no, you won't get your license. I was just thinking, yeah. So from once I passed, I was like, it's not done yet until they give you the license. But once I got those licenses, they were approved. I started work on 9/7 on the 9/7. So they were ready for me. I had a job lined up. I had the lady who hired me. She said, "Nellie, your story is like mine." I went to therapy school, didn't finish, got married, had a child, sometime like a year, and then she went back. And so she was like, "I love how determined you are." That's the feedback I'm getting from people. I sent them my little introduction, kind of telling them basically a little background and what took so long. But they say, "I love your determination." So
I
they
love
like, you've been
hearing
out of school for a while, but you got to start somewhere. That's all they were telling me. You got to start somewhere. So
that. I'd say everybody has to have a first day. And
yes,
it's okay. You can falter sometimes. Sometimes I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Simone Biles fell off the beam, but she got back up. So I can do
right.
it too. It's all going to be okay. And that's what really inspires me about, being able to work with you and everything. Just seeing your, now, I don't even want to call it transformation, because you were like gung ho from the beginning. You were like, I have a goal.
And
I'm
I'm
going to
doing
get to
it.
my goal. Show me
Yes.
how it can help me get to my goal. And I said, okay, sounds good. And that's something you can't teach. And I think a lot of people feel like with physical therapy, like you have to have that super strong why and tap into it all the time and stuff like that. And there are days where you probably were like, this is annoying, I don't want to do this. So how did you navigate those days where you were just like, I'm not super motivated about this? Like, how did you navigate those days?
So I gave myself rest breaks. I said, okay, Nellie, this is your goal. I know you're tired. Let's rest and then take a break from it. That was one thing, take a break from it. I would take someday. I'm like, Bree, I took a week off this week. I'm exhausted. And then once I took a week off, spent time with my daughter. We have mother-daughter day. I feel like I was recharged again. Like I'm back in it again. So that's what I did. Take a break. Like what I did from school. I didn't pass my boards. I took a 10-year break, but I got back to it. Maybe it was too long of a break, but in between time, I must say I kept opening up my books, trying to get the information to retain back. So it wasn't like just 10 years straight not trying. In 2018, I started opening up books and trying to get the information to read. And I was like, no, I really didn't have a game plan. I would just open up the book reading. It's like, what were you reading? So, but I would just tell people, just take a break, recharge, and stick to your goal. Stick to the objective, your overall goal.
Set yourself, give your break an end date, though. That's the big thing that I tell
Right.
people. Don't let your breaks stay on forever. And like Natallie was studying for a whole year. So when she would take when she would take a week break, in the grand scheme of a year, that's like if you were studying for 3 months, maybe like a day or so. So I always tell students in my course, like, hey, like, pick a day of the week, take it off, don't study, do something fun. I even do that for myself. And I've been doing this since, I've been doing PTA elevation. I don't know. And like nobody's really noticed. I still show up for everybody and get everything done, but I don't do anything on Saturdays. I don't. I go hang out with my boyfriend. That's what we do. Like this weekend, we went and did a race, which I don't think that was very relaxing, but it was fun and it was something different.
Yeah,
So,
something different, right?
Giving yourself like a day to look forward to that you're like, I don't have to study, I can do something fun. It's a mental recharge more than anything. Even if you do something physically crazy, like go on a crazy hike or something, like it's a good mental reset. So, and making sure, I think you also touch on this too, still living life and still experiencing life and everything without, sacrificing too much of your study time, still making sure that you're, spending that time with your daughter, making those memories and stuff like that, because it's important to still be doing those things. But I think really also, this also comes down to efficient planning, which you definitely are good at doing that. And I think that's also why I tell people, like, create a plan, stick to a goal, like make sure you have a game plan set up, making sure it's adaptable. If you miss a day, don't feel like you ruined all your hard work and, I don't know, combust basically.
Right.
Like that's the big things. And those are the things I noticed with you. So, I mean, you're getting a lot of people on Instagram being like, go Natallie, way to go.
Yay.
Congratulations. So
Thank you.
just want to make sure everybody could relay that. But, yeah, you absolutely crushed it, girl. Like, I'm so
Yes.
proud of you. You inspire me, honestly. Like, when I work with students like you, it makes me, like, really excited to do this. I mean, I already love doing this. I have a lot of fun with it. It's a great thing that I've done. But, yeah, when you tap into it, you can get a lot of stuff done. It's amazing what you can do when you put your mind to it and say, I can do hard things.
Right. Just listen to you, Bree. Like you told me, take exams. I studied. I took those exams. That was something you was big on me. When all I care, you're like, Natalie, I need to know when you're taking your next exam. And
Yeah,
I'm
that's like my big thing. I'm like, when's your next practice exam?
when
When are
is
you
your
doing
next
this?
practice exam? When are you taking it? And I may make a 597 on Bree exam. I'm like, oh, we'll feel bad. And Bree's like, girl, you're gonna crush it on the exam. I didn't think I wasn't sure, Bree. I had when I saw the pass, I was just froze. It was like it was like the draft at my house. So we just going to the computer. That's how it was. So it was like the NBA draft.
Everybody
Or
was sitting around the computer waiting for the call.
just
Yeah,
going.
tell me about the day. Talk about the day. Like, walk me
Yes.
through like everything when you saw it. Like, just tell me
So
all about
I was getting ready to relocate to San Antonio. So I'm packing and looking at, just trying to get things together. And you'd send out an email or message saying scores is out. And I'm like, So all day, about 4, I work from home. So all day I was going on the website and looking like this, like scrolling and looking, and it kept saying fifth attempt, fifth attempt. And then about 5:36, I'm like, nothing coming. And about 7 o'clock, I had scrolled down and pressed the refresh button, and I saw the pass circle, and I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. My mom was like, are you gonna run up and down? Yeah. I was like, no, it didn't sink in yet. It didn't sink in. It did not sink in until I saw the score. And I'm like, now you did well. Like, I got a 631. I was like, you did awesome. To me, that was awesome. I was like, you did that. During the exam, Bree, like I shared with you, it was like 5 questions, and I was like, I'm not sure. Previously, when I took the exam, I walked out of there like, I don't know. When I did your exam, I was like, I knew a good portion of that. A lot of things that you shared with us, I was like, okay, I felt very comfortable going into the exam. I wasn't nervous. I was relaxed. I breathed. I was very calm. But when I saw the scores, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, you got a 630. I love the score. I was like, you didn't just pass, like you passed, so my goal was to get like a 630 or 650, and I met it. I was like, Nelly, because I told myself, depending on what score I get, depends on if I should do DPT school. Because I was like, if I get a 601, that just shows I barely knew it. But to me, I'm like, oh, you met your goal. So I'm proud of me. Yep. And I was very excited when I saw my license. That's when it sunk in, like, you are a PTA. And when I went in and treated my patient, and I'm like, you're not an aide anymore. You are the boss. Like, and I'm like, it set in, like, okay. And then this Saturday is going to sink in even more. So I'm like, okay. And then they were like, hey, we got good reviews. They love you. We want you to come back. I'm like, okay. Because I was nervous. So I was like, is they going to give me another? I didn't get any feedback. And I was like, okay, I did it.
Yeah. I really do think like it doesn't sink in until you go into the clinic and like sign your first note and you're like,
yes.
Oh,
it says PTA. And I saw my license and I'm like, I have license. I said, my mom, I have license. So I enjoy it. I moved to San Antonio, Texas. I enjoy it here. It was a great move. I enjoy it.
I love that. See, you basically said, I'm going to get to my goals. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I have no doubt in my mind, you'll keep climbing and keep meeting all those goals that you've set for yourself.
Yes.
So just to kind of ask one more question, if anybody has questions on, all the social media that we're streaming to, feel free to ask. We are definitely willing to answer questions. But if you could tell a PTA student who's struggling maybe in your same position or similar position, any one piece of information, or even any one piece of information, it can be more than one, what would you tell them?
Stick to your plan. Whatever your goal is, write it down. I'm big on writing down my goals, seeing it, having a blueprint. This is what I want to do. And then whenever you find yourself steering away from it, read it and say, this is what I said. So you won't be steering off years from your goal. So write your goals down. Don't just say it, write it down, and then go back to it and say, am I still in line with this goal? Have I drifted away? And then if so, what can I do to get back to it? So, hey, Bree, I didn't study this week. Okay, it's okay. I had to work. Well, did you attempted to look over something maybe you already kind of know already? Just keep that information going. Don't lose it. So that's the only thing I would tell somebody. Write your blueprint down. If you find yourself steering away from it, come back to it. Just do it like Nike. Just do it. Okay.
Let's say that's a beautiful thing. Writing your goals, having it right in front of you, being able to see it. I mean, I got my goals back there. I had to hide it for other reasons. But I put my goals. I think also something I tell my students, I'm like, write your name, sign it, comma, PTA,
Yes.
because that's your goal. You're not doing this to take a test. You're doing this to become a licensed clinician who's going to make the difference in people's lives. Like,
Right.
that's really your main goal. It's just a hurdle to get over, and it's a necessary hurdle. So if you're somebody that's like getting real pissed that you have to do it, just the exam doesn't care about your feelings, respectfully. Right. Like, you just got to do it. That's really what it is. And so figure out how you can. Yeah,
just be positive to yourself. Don't be negative and beat yourself up. Don't say, "Oh, I can't." You can. You can do it. It's there's times where I'm like, this is hard. The flow of the heart, the blood flow through the heart. I was like, this is hard, and I start changing my word. This is easy now. Even though I'm looking like it's hard, but I'm like, it's easy. And then it came to me like, I remember being in your group coaching. You asked a question, Bree. I'm like, I know it already. I'll have it typed out.
You had it typed out. I was like, oh my gosh.
It started coming easily to me. I'm like, it was like, I loved it, Bree. You should see me. If you could see me, I'd be ready. Like, I know what she's gonna say next. And you're like, dog, Natallie, are you reading my mind? Because I'm intrigued. I love what I'm doing. So it's like, when you love what you're doing, you're gonna find a way every day to come to it, even though you got to work. Like, I have work from home and I have a daughter, but I knew this is what I really wanted to do. I knew this is my 5-year goal, to get a clinic one day that's to treat my own patients. So I'm like, you have to stick to the goal. This is my goal. So I was like, I'm sticking to my goal, and I'm not gonna let anything step in my way.
That's beautiful. Well, Natallie, if people have questions for you, where can they find you to, ask you questions?
Yeah, so I am on IG, Natallie, just my name, first and last name Robinson, and I am on Facebook, my first and last name as well.
There you go. Awesome. And so students can reach out to you if they have any questions.
I'll be glad to answer any questions.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you, Natallie, for joining us today. Really appreciate it. And I'll see everybody in the next Inspire Series episode. All right, guys, take care.
Bye.
All right, so we do have a couple questions that people have asked, though. So I'll give people a second if anybody has any questions for Natallie, just write them in the comments. We'll be able to answer those. I do have a random question from YouTube that I'll just answer for those of you, because I think this is going to be an important thing to just kind of notify. How many practice exams should I take before the exam, which is in October of this year? So do you mean next month? Because at this point, if you're trying to study last minute for next month, that's not a good idea. You should be, for practice exams, I usually tell students to take between 4 and 5 practice exams, so then they're prepared and that they feel more confident going into their test. So as long as you're asking this as you've been taking practice exams and want to just double check that you're doing the right thing, that's fine. If you've just started studying for October, I will tell everybody this though. If you're just starting to study for October, you're screwing yourself over. It's too late. You got to look towards January and get a good plan. And it's not too early to start studying for January. 100%. All right, guys. Well, I think it was just mostly a bunch of people saying congratulations because you've been doing such a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All righty. Well, Natallie, thank you so much for coming on here. I appreciate it. So I'm going to end the live stream. Again, if anybody has any questions, y'all can reach out to Natallie on social media sites. All right, bye, Instagram and Facebook and YouTube.